Hey, Josh Tigg, Running T Farms. Midday cattle move here. We just moved into a new paddock, primarily crabgrass. A lot of warm season annuals in here, none of which we planted. This just germinated from the seed bank we'd kind of intended. This is another. We had, let's see, I think 1, 2, 3 paddocks that we had intended to drill into sorghum Sudan this year, but when it was getting close to time to drill, we had such a strong germination of crabgrass that we decided to just let it go and we would graze it. So just got over leftover remnants of Hurricane Ian. Came just a little to the east of us. They were forecasting us to get 3 to 6 inches of rain and some pretty strong winds, but it did track a little further east than they originally thought. So we were able to avoid that and got just under 2 inches of rain. So that's, we were getting dry. We were glad to have the rain. So it didn't rain very much yesterday. Ground's firmed up a little bit, so we've got our stock density back up. I think there's about 130 animals in this first break here. It's roughly about 65 feet wide and 100 feet long. We got 130 animals in here, and I'm going to show you why. I'm going to step right. I'm standing on top of my ball drinker here, so I could shoot a better video so you could see the cattle. But we had these cattle spread out in this other paddock right here for Hurricane Ian. And we wasn't aware, we were trying to plan for the worst case scenario. But I'd like to show you my estimation here of what happens. This was kind of a perfect scenario to waste an incredible amount of forage. So this was a paddock that had some sorghum Sudan in it. You can see these stalks here, they're just scattered. This was a paddock that we only got about 50% germination on. It got really dry after we drilled it, and we didn't get good germination. And then actually we had quite a bit of seedlings that just come up and died because it got dry. We went about 5 weeks there with no rain. So right when we drilled this. But so we had these cows in there. It's about a 7-acre paddock, and we just turned them in here because we didn't know what this hurricane was going to do. I knew there was plenty enough forage in here to hold them till it passed, and if we had any flooding or anything, this was a good paddock for them to be in. But so this sorghum Sudan was up where it was about shoulder to head high, very palatable. As you can see, there's just a whole lot of crabgrass in here. It's in a less palatable state. It's maturing out. Still plenty good enough quality forage for these animals. But because it's less palatable than all of this sorghum Sudan that was scattered across here, these cattle just walked around and, grazed that sorghum Sudan and kind of turned their nose up at this crabgrass because they were allowed to do so. So they have just walked a pile of forage down on the ground, and they've fouled it with their feet while they're walking around grazing all of this little sorghum Sudan. So had they not been calling for 6 inches of rain, we would have, of course, had the stock density up very high, and we would have come in here and they would have consumed both the crabgrass and the sorghum Sudan in one pass. And we would have been able to harvest probably 90% of this forage. I would say right now we maybe harvested 20% of it. And I was actually going to leave the cows in here till tomorrow, but they have fouled this forage so much, even though there's a tremendous amount of forage in here. They would not graze it because they had walked around with muddy feet when we got the rain and fouled it while they were grazing this sorghum Sudan. So this is not the time of the year that we want to be wasting forage, which, there's no good time to waste forage, but especially going into winter and this being primarily warm season annuals here. We could have grazed this particular paddock for probably 14 or 15 days And I think we ended up with about 2.5 days out of this. So that is the difference between grazing at a stock density like that versus giving them 8 acres and letting them have at it. So we lost 70% basically of this forage, which is necessary. We wasn't sure. We was erring on the side of caution. You can't run cattle at that stock density when the soil's very wet, or you'll do a tremendous amount of damage to your soil. So, but I would have probably only gave them half to a quarter of this paddock had I known that we was only going to get the 2 inches of rain versus the 6 inches of rain potential that they thought we were having. So just wanted to get a little video of that so people can see we've got these cows. And if you'll notice, like I said, they're in there pretty tight. So probably it's like 6,500 square feet right here. I don't know, I could figure that up on the acreage, but they're in roughly 6,500 square feet of paddock. But if you'll notice, they're not walking around. They're just basically, when they moved in here, they got to where they are and they just kind of stand around and they graze. And so I'll probably be back here in about 1.5 hours, and I'll go ahead and give them another break about this same size. So we expect our harvest efficiency to be up, close to 80-90% on this, which is what we're after. We want to efficiently harvest this forage and then convert it into great 100% grass-fed beef. So hope everybody has a fantastic rest of your weekend. You can check us out online at runningtbeef.com. You can like us on Facebook at Running T Beef. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure and click that like and subscribe button on your way out. And everybody make it a great week next week.